Hello, and welcome to Art with Miss Michelle. Happy Thanksgiving week. Today we're going to be drawing some turkeys. So for this project, you're going to need some paper and a regular pencil and whatever you want to use to color it. So I have colored pencils here, but if you'd like to use something different, anything will work. And then I like to have some pictures of turkeys to look at for reference because I always like to use reference pictures, but turkeys are pretty complex looking animals, so I actually have a few different views of them. So I can see, like, this one has a better view of their face, and then this shows a couple different kinds of turkeys. I like the feathers in this one, so I just have a few different turkeys to look at for reference, and I'm gonna switch views so you can see my drawing. Okay, so I'm gonna draw this turkey, and you can draw along with the video if you want, and if you need to pause it, you can. So like I said, I have a few different views of them, and this one you can see the head really well, and then this guy has kind of the view that I want of his body. So this one you can also see the feet a little bit better too. But I like this one because you can see the wing. So I'm actually just gonna kind of separate some shapes in here. So they have this curve on their back. I outlined the wing. And then you can see on this one he has kind of two that leg thighs where his legs come down here. And then the chest. Actually, you'd always see the turkeys with this piece hanging down, but you never really see these big chest feathers that puff out of their chest. So that's really interesting. So this is kind of like a round part. And then of course we have the head and neck here. So I'm just going to go ahead and start with the head. And I'm going to kind of make this shape that I drew here. It's almost like a question mark. And I'm going to draw my turkey's head kind of in the middle, going up to down. And then, as you can see, his head on this one is pretty far over to the side, so I want to leave a lot of room over here for his big, beautiful feathers. So I'm going to start with kind of a curve. It's almost like the top of an S without the bottom. And then I'm going to give it a beak. And birds actually have a little nostril on their beak. So I'm just going to give him the top and bottom beak. And then I'm going to add this red part that hangs down. So it's kind of going to go behind the beak and hang down like that. Then I'm just going to draw the other side of the neck here. And then I can add the eye. So if you kind of go from the top beak out, then I'll have the eye right there. Oops. I'm going to color this in later, so if I have a couple extra lines, then it's okay. And then the turkey actually has kind of a blue face here. So I'm just going to draw a line from the top of the beak around the eye. And that's going to be where the blue is. And then the rest is kind of gray and red. So I'll just keep that in mind when I color it. Then I'm going to draw this kind of puffed out chest here. So that's going to be a big rounded shape there. And then the back goes up a little bit, and then I have this big rounded shape here where all these feathers are. So I'm going to round that up, and then I'm going to add my wing. So this wing looks really complicated. I'm going to simplify this a little bit. So I have kind of a backwards C shape right here. So I'm going to draw that, and then I can see a couple places where the feathers change colors. So I'm going to draw one almost straight, but a little bit curved line here. And then another round shape there. Then I see all these long feathers, and they kind of go out and back. So I'm gonna draw some lines for the feathers there. And then as I go up to the top of the wing, they're gonna get slightly shorter. And then I can make these connect with kind of a V on the end. So they're gonna be pointy looking. So now I have my turkey head, neck, body, and wing. So now I have to add these really big feathers back here. And I can see there's lots of layers. So you can look at your turkey and decide if you want to try to make this more complicated or more simple. I'm going to simplify this a little bit. So I see the lines separating his feathers that go in between each one. So I am going to start, I might start in the middle and make some long middle lines for the big feathers in the back. And then they kind of get shorter as they go to the side. So I'm just going to make them a little bit shorter. And if I have to go behind the head, I can stop right there and lift my pencil a little bit and move it as if I was still drawing the line, and then put it back down and connect it on the other side. And then they look kind of round at the top. And then if I decide I might want to add a couple more lines in between to make the feathers a little bit smaller, I can see if I want to do that. And then I will connect the top of these after I have all my feathers in place. So kind of like I did the pointy lines here, instead of pointy, I'm going to make a round line to connect it. So kind of like the letter C, or if I was drawing part of a circle. And I'm just going to connect each line of my feather. And then I notice he has this layer kind of close to his body. So I can just make another set of rounded lines. And that's going to make the smaller feathers back there. Turkeys have a lot of tail feathers, so they're pretty complicated to draw, but I'm pretty happy with the way it's turning out. So now when I look at these, I see there's many different shades of brown. So if I want to kind of separate those stripes a little bit, so when I color it in, it'll be a little easier, I can just make another layer next to each line that I drew. And then I might add one more for this dark brown stripe. Okay, so my turkey's looking pretty good. I just need to give him some feet. So I'm gonna make the two lines for his fat thighs right there. And then his feet are pretty much like any kind of bird feet. Skinny legs and 3 pointy toes. And then they actually have like a little back claw there, or toe. And there's my turkey, and now it's ready to color in. So you can be creative when you're coloring your turkey. This turkey it has many different shades of brown with just a little bit of red and blue on the head. Oh, and if I want to add this funny little part on his chest, I can draw that in. But you don't have to color your turkey in the actual colors. If you want to, you can, if you want it to be realistic, but there's no reason why you can't make a fall colored turkey or a rainbow turkey or whatever you feel inspired by. So I think I'm gonna make mine the colors that it looks like in the picture, or kind of close to that. but I'm just gonna start with my face, with my blue face. So they're kind of strange looking, so if your turkey looks strange, then you're probably doing a good job. And I'm just gonna look at my picture and keep adding the colors that I see in the different places where I see them on my turkey. And when I get to the brown, I'll probably take out as many different browns as I can find and maybe start with my really dark brown. And then you can actually blend your colors together too. So if you don't have a lot of different browns, you can blend like orange and brown together, red and brown, pretty much any color. You can do white and brown, so you can get all different shades. So if you want to try to make your feathers look very realistic, you can draw the kind of hard part that goes down the middle, and then you can try to use your pencil to make lines. Like if you've ever held a feather, each little line on it. But if you don't want to spend that much time on your picture, I understand. You could just color it in the colors that you see, or whatever colors are in your imagination. And you can just keep working on it, and when you're done, you'll have a very festive turkey drawing. Okay, so I've colored my turkey's feathers using the line technique of making like the lines of the feathers going up, up, and out, like the veins of a feather. And then I've colored in his head and his feet. So I used this kind of peach color for the feet, but I'm gonna add a little bit of yellow. And I can blend my colors to make colors that are more like what I want. So this is just one example of blending some different colors. I also blended some lighter and darker brown on some of the feathers and the ends here. And then if I want to take some dark brown, I can give them some toenails. And then for the chest and the back feathers, they have this really cool texture here, and actually the top part of the wing. So what I did was I kind of made a line here to separate this front part of the chest from the back here. And what I'm going to do is just kind of start to color this in using short, fast lines, and see how these have like tons and tons of layers of feathers. If I make short lines, that's going to kind of imitate the shape of the feathers and then also the direction that they're growing out of the turkey. So this might take me a little while, but if I do this, it'll make it look pretty realistic, like the texture of the feathers. And I'm also kind of alternating between pushing down kind of light or regular, and then if I push down a little bit harder, I can get some darker lines, so I get a little bit of variation. And then once I have that filled in, I can just take a different shade of brown, or this tannish brown, and go over it. And that's going to add a little bit more depth, a little bit more color, and it's just going to help make my turkey look that much more realistic. So I'm just going to fill this in with the same types of lines. And then I can just add this weird little feather part that I've never really noticed before, but it's kind of interesting. And then these feathers back here kind of do the same thing, but they're different colors and they're kind of in a different direction. So I can actually, I could just color this in and then do the lines with a darker color over it, but I think if I make sure to color it all in the same direction like this, it's gonna give me a really nice texture. And then I'm gonna use black, and I'm gonna use my black kind of sparingly because I don't see a lot really close to the brown part. And then when I get back towards the back feathers, I see it's a little bit darker, so I can push down a little bit harder and make a few more black lines. And then I'm going to do the same thing on the wing. The part closer to the body is a little bit lighter. And then as it gets closer to the brown, it's a little bit darker. So I'm pretty happy with the way this is turning out. I just have to do these long wing feathers here. So I think I'm going to use my same light gray. And I'm just going to color these in, and then I'm just going to add some black stripes. Okay, so I'm pretty happy with the way this turned out. I spent a little bit of time coloring this, but it didn't take me too long. So I think if you just pay attention to the direction your lines go, and it really helps if you have a picture to look at. So if you drew this turkey, please post a picture so we can see it on the art channel or the art gallery. And happy Thanksgiving. Thanks for watching my video, and happy turkey drawing.